baby, if you give it to me, I'll give it to you. I know what you want, you know I got it, baby. If you give it to me, I'll give it to you. As long as you want, you know I got it.
This is our first podcast. Hello from the UNA podcasting couch. Casting couch.
Podcasting
This is the
couch.
casting couch.
The
So-
podcasting couch.
We thought we'd start a podcast because, you know, our videos aren't coming out regularly enough, and we wanted to get content out for you guys and kind of keep you up to date. The main way we contact with people is through Instagram.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If people aren't following our
That's
Instagram, how do they know what's going on?
Slide on in.
Slide into the DMs.
Into my
So
DMs.
we thought we'd do this, give you a bit of an update, where we are with each of the builds, that kind of stuff. We put some questions out on Instagram.
Feel a couple of feelers.
So yeah, we'll answer some of those things.
Mm.
So what should we start with?
We've got anything written down? Let's go for it.
Yeah, John, put your phone out.
I already have it out. So we'll start with an update on the builds. Who wants to do that?
Should we start with Elmo?
S13 or Elmo? Why don't you rock
Elmo,
for it?
start with Elmo.
Start with
Everyone,
Elmo. Yeah.
the main question we got was, where is Elmo? What's
Yeah.
happening with Elmo?
Yeah.
Anybody?
Well, Elmo's currently at. Oh, we don't disclose
Yeah,
locations.
undisclosed location.
An undisclosed location.
with no engine.
We ain't
But
got no
we
engines.
ain't got no engines. So as many of you already know that we built Elmo from the ground up. Essentially, pretty much almost every nut and bolt has been changed. Are we going to tell a story on how we acquired Elmo, or are we just going to go straight to
do the
it?
whole Elmo
I
story.
don't see the
We're
point.
new
That's
to
the one.
podcasting. Sorry guys,
Yeah.
this is strange.
Yeah.
But do whatever. Do the Elmo
Alright.
story.
These
So-
guys are sitting here with their hands crossed.
Yes.
Twiddling my
Anyway.
thumbs.
Can you check their recording? I'm a bit paranoid. Are you recording? I don't know. Anyway, keep
You
going
can still
while he's
cut it.
checking.
You can cut it
50
anyways.
minutes later, they weren't recording.
Thanks for
It's
tuning in,
recording.
guys. And can you check that one's recording? And me, yeah.
Anyway, so what was happening? So for whatever reason,
It's recording.
when we were all growing up, let's take it back like 5 years ago. None of us really liked Hondas. I think Dave was the only one who really liked Hondas.
Yeah.
Nah,
Thank you.
we both liked Hondas
Oh,
because
nah.
we'd been in an
J-
NSX.
Oh,
When we were
yeah,
little.
I liked
When
that.
we were
That was
little.
different. NSX is different to us.
Yeah.
Okay, NSX isn't.
So Driller and I met at uni, and we became friends through
Tangent.
cars.
Tangent.
Tangent.
Yeah.
We'll get back to it.
There'll be
We
many
we became friends through cars, and Driller always raved on about Hondas. His cousin had an EP3. It was awesome. I was like, yeah, Honda boys, gay.
You have to experience the VTEC in order to
I was
know
always
what Hondas are
skeptical
about.
because I was, ever since I got my license,
you-
I wanted
you're
to
John.
get my GTR, and I wanted turbo, and I wanted,
power.
power. And I was like, little Hondas, they're
They don't
they're
go hard.
economy cars. They're not meant for this.
Mm.
And
now
then,
look what he drives.
yeah.
Comedy.
The evolution of John.
and then Driller got us all into Hondas.
Oswald, I posed the question. I said we need to do something. We all love cars, and we've got to do something about it. So
The biggest thing I think was cheap.
yeah,
And you said
Yeah.
budget build, and I said
Budget.
Honda's probably the best thing to do.
Yeah.
And there's like so many of them available,
Mm.
and like the mods list is just like
just easy.
Yeah.
Easy
Plug
and
and
it
play.
works. It just works.
Anyway, so that's how we got into the Honda.
And
So
then
where's it at?
it just happened to be that, and happened to work out that.
But what happened to the shell? How did we get the shell?
Well, my cousins owned the car. and
Everything's cousins.
and it had
We're
been-
such a-
The-
my cousin, he's a cousin.
the most ethnic podcast
Yeah.
in the world. My cousin had a Honda, and my cousin also had a
well,
Honda.
Ethnic Honda podcast.
I suppose, like, just so all you guys know, we've all got multiple brothers and sisters. Our parents
And
have
cousins.
at least 5 brothers and sisters. So
Called the cousins.
yeah, we've got a lot of cousins. And essentially, yeah, they had. Well, my cousin had went over to America, and the car was left in.
Cabarita?
No, it was
Somewhere?
left in, it was
So
left
this
in-
car was like the car that.
undisclosed location.
Was
Undisclosed
this
on the
car-
side of the street.
This car was like their whole family learnt on this car.
Yeah, every single one of that family, every child.
This
all
is
4
Elmo
of
we're
them,
talking about.
This
by
is
the way.
Elmo, exactly. Had learnt on this car, and they had bought it off another family who we actually all know, who owned that car
Actually?
since brand new.
Really?
Yep.
It was auto. It was
They
just.
owned the car.
So
it was
they
auto.
owned it since new.
I'm pretty sure they owned it since new. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I think
that
we're actually
was it,
the
yeah.
so you know the whole history of
Your
the car.
I've
dad,
got the whole
your
lot.
dad who was a
Way.
smash repairer back in the day,
Had resprayed it.
so that's why I almost
And-
got great pay.
Great, triple A quality
Rust-free.
paint.
Rust free. Yeah, we haven't had to do any repairs.
But the car was left in 5 Dock. It was flat. It was parked on the side of the road. I don't know if it had any parking tickets, but it had a lot of notes saying, please move the car.
Yeah.
Because it had been left there for a couple of months.
And it was out of Rego.
And it was out of Rego.
Did it start?
And no, it didn't start. It didn't start.
I'm just thinking back to the
Do we
day.
have videos of this?
No.
No, we didn't
Do
video.
you
I
remember
don't think we
when-
were videoing anything back then.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I put it
Or,
on my Snapchat.
When we hired the
Yeah.
trailer. Oh no, that was
No, we borrowed
that
the
was
trailer.
Travis'
We borrowed
trailer.
your
That was the
neighbour's
trailer
And
for
the
my
other-
neighbour.
Where we borrowed it.
Yeah,
And
we borrowed.
we snapped the
So-
ramps.
Another tangent. Another tangent. Our neighbour, who's a great guy, Anthony, he lent us his trailer because this is before we.
That was like the first time.
This
first
was before we even hired
Mm.
trailers or we knew anyone with a trailer.
Or owned a trailer briefly.
And
Briefly.
yeah, we borrowed his trailer. But the thing was, he didn't know where his ramps were for the trailer, and he
Oh,
just
yeah.
thought, get a few 4x2s.
You supply some wood.
We'll
you'd be
take,
right.
we'll take, screw them together. It'll work.
It was text group.
Hey,
That is do a text.
We were a little bit
How heavy can a
skeptical.
Honda be?
We were a little bit skeptical. We set the ramps up with the hooks that were tech screwed in.
Hey, look, I thought it was going to work. I was like, look, a Honda weighs 1,000 kilos. It's going to be fine.
Yeah. Anyway,
We got about halfway up, but then
Okay, so the car was like located all the way up the top of this hill, and we're like, alright, so it's not starting. We'll park the car with the trailer down the bottom, and we like, let's push it. We all pushed it. We ran out of speed, had to push it another couple 100 meters, and then all these people were just beeping and honking, and yeah, it was pretty funny. And then we got around the corner where the car was, we're like, yep, let's go up. We're creeping onto the trailer, and then
just
bang.
I don't
The car
remember how we got it up in the end.
I don't know how we got it up either.
I think we just pushed the planks up further
Oh, we did too. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
because they snapped where it was
Yeah.
tech screwed in.
It's not with a text where we pushed it on top.
Who
Of
would have
course,
thought?
of course,
Who would've thought?
tech screws aren't gonna hold a car. Oh,
Anyway,
no.
so that's how we picked up
And
Elmo.
that's how we acquired Elmo.
And then
We took it back to our house, my
Yeah.
house, and then we
Guys,
started
there
started
for
the
a
first
long time.
video. That was
yeah,
it.
Elmo V1.
What,
Well, that's
what,
not the
what,
first
what
you
was
went
the
in.
first video?
First you went
Mickey
in
stripping down
is,
an engine?
no.
Is
Godzilla attacking
Yeah.
the
John.
Why are you pointing at me? I don't know which car that was. It's not me. That's random footage I found online.
That's right, you did too.
It wasn't
Yeah,
even on the
yeah.
screen.
No, it wasn't
That
little
is-
mounted
yeah,
parts.
Wasn't that when the
in
car you
Fiji.
shipped to America? You went to
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you went to
That was
Mexico.
Mexico.
Went to
Yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah. But no, I don't know who the driver was of that car.
A lot of private roads there.
Yeah, private.
A lot of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Doesn't your uncle own the road over there?
Yeah, but my cousin.
owns the road, yeah. So.
But anyway, that was the first video. But then the first Elmo vid was the strippage.
Yeah, that was when we
That
stripped
was
the
fun.
whole
That
car.
was so quick.
Stripping cars is fun.
Stripping
Yeah.
cars is
Especially
way
Civics.
easier than putting your car back together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's you get so much fun. So
Anyway,
fun.
so where's it at now? The shell.
Oh well, undisclosed location, but it's. Well, we've done all the mods.
It's
You
there.
know when he's asking where's it at? He's not asking
What-
where geographically
What
is it.
stage are we up
He's
to?
asking.
Where is Elmo at?
Drop a pin. Where is it?
Okay. Drop a pin. It's here.
Oh,
I can really. Okay.
Give him the status. Where's
Okay,
the
the
car?
status is it's got no engines because we just sold our B18C
Yep.
in completely running order.
Alright.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
No,
So-
it
And it was.
sweet.
well, we're
It
doing the
was sweet.
story of Elmo. So what happened? We bought the car. We stripped it.
Bought the car, stripped the car,
We-
raced
no,
the
we
car, broke the car.
No, but we got a whole other car to make Elmo.
We bought a
Cookie Monster.
Donor car.
Yeah, donor car.
That lasted not
Built the
too.
car, broke the car,
What happened?
rebuilt the car.
Well, anyway, the engine that we put in Elmo originally was a B18 CR
Yep.
out of a
JDM Integra Type R.
Integral Type R.
B18 CR.
That was a good engine.
Yeah,
Top of the
strong.
And
So strong.
we kind of outgrew that. We went really it was a fun engine. It revved like crazy, but we kind of reached the potential.
I think we outgrew how much more pace we could get out of the car.
And plus, I think we were running out of money with how much oil we were putting
Yeah.
into it
Had a bit of a
constantly.
drinking
Like, we were
problem.
putting
Yeah,
more
bit of a
oil
drinking
than
problem.
fuel at
Drinking
one
problem.
stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
every,
actually was.
every
It
single
was actually
every outing
more-
on Wakefield, every 15-minute session, you'd have to top it up afterwards.
Yeah.
Was
Well,
pretty
yeah, until the last session, John, which didn't come back in.
Yeah.
No, you pulled into the pits and you did the
No,
dial
he
change.
did. It was-
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we forgot to
So I
top it
forgot
up.
We
to check,
forgot to top it
forgot
up.
to check the oil.
Idiots.
And then
Anyway.
John went out,
Just
Yeah.
knocking at the door.
and then just there you go.
VTEC came knocking.
Hello.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened with Elmo.
Yep.
Rebuilt it. It was running good. We did one more track day.
Yeah,
one more
that,
track
that
day.
was really hectic.
I think it ran quite well. I think it was running 111s at that day.
Yeah, it was.
With
one
no
of
wheel
them.
alignment after pulling
Yeah.
everything apart.
Yeah.
So.
And it was a really hot
And actually,
day
that's a
too,
fact.
so-
I don't think we've ever actually had a wheel alignment on it
No.
when we went to race.
No, we have.
Well, only
Yeah,
once.
we did. We had one.
Yeah.
Probably should get a wheel on it.
Mm,
Yeah,
I reckon
maybe.
we get another.
But at the
second-
moment, to answer Dave's question, it has no engine. It's currently just sitting in a shed, in a garage.
It's
Um,
waiting for.
It's
the
waiting
engine.
for the next chapter of Elmo's life.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Are we going to tell them?
Yeah,
or we're
tell-
gonna...
tell
Yeah,
us,
yeah,
don't they? People already know.
Yeah, we're going to go case
It's
swap.
only
K24 preferably, only because they're like looking at a budget side of things.
Yeah.
break it,
K20
replace
is
it
ideal,
easily.
but
Yeah. No, K24 with a limited slip diff. With we're not going to have a budget build anymore. I don't think. I think it's going to be budget, but
Budget in mind.
budget.
but like serious.
It's budget. Yeah,
I
it's
see.
it's budget compared to.
It's not a
Nice.
stripped out Porsche race
Yeah.
car or something,
Yeah.
but like it's
It's still a Honda. We're not
This-
doing a Frankenstein engine.
no, it's
No.
not going to be like eBay parts or anything like that.
But yeah, we're going the cheaper route, which is a
Yeah.
K24. So
Yeah.
if we do blow it, in the
Yeah.
bad scenario that
If-
that
when.
happens,
Yeah.
when
Nah, they don't,
you can
K24
replace them
don't
pretty,
work.
you can replace them pretty quickly.
Because like
pretty
K24 is
cheaply.
about 800 to $1,000
It's so
Yeah.
cheap.
for an engine, so,
So cheap.
Yeah,
and to swap it out would take probably a whole day.
but they...
Should only take an hour.
Month,
Yeah. Should I? It'll
a
only
month,
take an hour.
month.
I love our
Yeah.
slogan. Should have taken out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's I guess that's where Elmo's up at the moment.
But that's not going to happen right now. I don't think.
That's on the back burner.
That's our back
It's on
burner.
the Bunsen burner.
Yeah.
So
So because we got another build
That no one really knows about.
that no one knows about.
They
but
do.
They've
We've
seen,
been-
they've seen photos. I haven't seen a video.
we've been teasing on Instagram and Facebook, and we've spoken about it in a few vids. But the S13, what's the go with that?
You want to take the reins on that puppy, yeah?
So S13 is just currently sitting in my yard. It's probably been sitting there for about a year and a half. I think I was going through my phone and looking at
It's so
Insta
depressing.
stories, and I found one from like
When
a
we
year and a
acquired it?
half, 2 years ago. It's taken a lot longer than we wanted, and I don't know the reason no one's really seen anything. I guess with Elmo we showed like the full build process,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
with this one it was kind of like, let's not do that again, because like we've already kind of done that.
Well,
so
The
Yeah.
the engine that we got in it, well, there was no engine in it. The S13. So give him a talk about the S13. What?
We
Oh.
got no
So-
agents.
yeah, we picked up the car. It was I think about $1,500.
It came with a boat anchor in the front.
Boat anchor in the front. So it was rolling shell. Came with a CA18, which was like in pieces. So it wasn't running at all. Had no running gear whatsoever.
The headers were in the boot.
We checked it over. Unfortunately, it was at night, so we didn't really get a proper look at it. And it was just
Look,
Yeah, we checked it at
it
night
was-
time with
it
gold
was-
grip on.
yeah.
it was cheap.
It was cheap.
Buying-
It was cheap.
Buying
Very
cars in the
cheap.
dark is not
It
the
was
best
cheap, but
idea,
it look.
no.
I mean, if we could do it again, we'd probably
Look a bit better.
look a bit better and get something.
Our
Cleaner.
intention the whole time was to make a drift car that we could, because we haven't drifted. We're not
Hadn't.
Hadn't.
we're not people who
Hadn't.
have rear wheel.
We wanted
car,
something that we
rear
were
wheel
happy to
cars.
crash. If you crash it,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
big deal.
The only
That's a
problem
big
is if
thing.
we crash this one, it's literally going to snap in half because there's that much rust through it.
When you jack it up and it does this.
It actually does.
Would you jack and just
Um,
crumples?
So yeah, that's sitting in the backyard. It's had an engine swap. We're telling them.
You know what?
what's
It's
done
had a
to it.
lot
Great
done.
engine.
It's had a
Yeah,
lot
yeah,
done
yeah.
now.
So we
Yeah.
filmed the engine swap, but the idea is we didn't film a how-to like we did with Elmo.
Yeah.
We're kind of we filmed what was happening, and once we get to a stage where the engine's all done and all that,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it all together in one video. It's like a highlight video of all the little things that we've done,
And then boom, drifting.
and then from then on, when we start doing drift mods, that's what we're gonna start filming. We have
Yeah.
started filming some of those things, like.
Yeah.
And that's when it's going to be more regular videos.
Yeah.
But we just didn't think that first part would take so long.
Yeah.
We thought it'd be like swap the engine in,
It-
away we go.
It came.
Maybe
Yeah,
take
we
a couple
realised how much more difficult it actually is working on.
They're way
This-
harder
something
than
that
anything
isn't
Honda.
Honda.
Yeah.
I think it's just anything that's not Honda. It just seems to be so much
Honda's
more
just-
difficult.
Everything fits together, it's great.
So much more cramped.
easy.
So many more pieces and bolts and
Hondas
Yeah.
are so good.
plus you chuck a turbocharger and it just makes it even more difficult.
Yeah.
And me and Mick almost.
Almost blew it before it started the car.
Yeah, almost put the water feed to the oil.
To the oil
feed.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
so-
I remember that.
Anyway,
R.I.P. Turbo.
so yeah, that's sitting there. It's about 80% ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the main focus at the moment is to just get that one
It
completely
runs. It runs.
Yeah.
done. It runs.
It
Got a
runs.
few issues here and there. We've still got to
Just,
figure out
I
what's
think
wrong with
most
it.
of them are just electrical and it doesn't idle properly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then
And when it's driving down the street, it's driving like this.
yeah,
Yeah,
Crap,
crap,
we're-
crap,
we're-
crap.
we're-
It needs,
we're-
it needs
we're-
a wheel
we're-
limit
we're-
bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, so that's main focus for before Elmo.
So yeah,
Let's
the,
get this 13
the
done.
idea of buying that car was to learn to drift. But
Mhm.
since buying that,
We learned to drift.
we
We
learned to
learned to
drift.
drift. We
So
learned
we've
to
been to Japan, went to Ibisu, we spent a week there, learned to drift.
The best week.
Best week ever. We'll get into that in a little bit later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now that we've learnt the basics, we're itching to get back to the track and
Mm.
take the S13 and get it there. So hopefully that'll be happening soon.
Yeah.
In the coming months.
I still think that our initial goal was to have an S13 that car. That
You
we
wanted to drive it to work.
You wanted to street
You're
it.
gonna-
This thing would like
That would not
even
pass
even
for
someone who
everyone.
hands out dodgy blue slips, they would not even.
They wouldn't
consider
even
it.
hand dodgy
They'd
blue slip.
lose their blue
Yeah,
stick
it's that
license,
bad.
Yeah.
whatever it is.
But like, okay, so yeah, the intention was to buy a drift car that we were happy to smash or
Yeah.
tap wars and whatnot,
Yeah.
and not care about it too much. And I still think the project's on the same lines.
Yeah.
We're still happy to crash this thing,
Mm.
and because if it does,
Yeah, I'm happy to crash
the
it.
whole running gear and drive
Probably
line
will.
when it comes to the
Do it on purpose. We'll get a new car. Just swap it straight in. Yes,
Yeah.
a better car.
well, the whole drive line, running gear, engine, all that sort of stuff has all been changed. So
Yeah.
It's actually a really good.
it's a really good running
gear.
gear, just a shit show.
Thank you to Robert Westside Mechanics.
Yeah,
for
shout out.
Shout out to Rob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always looking after
Such,
us.
such a good.
He's
guy.
been a legend through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
He even owns a Honda. Actually, no, I think his Honda's gone.
I think he sold it. Mm.
So who wants to speak about Japan?
Yeah, I'll go.
There you go.
I reckon we should speak about Japan.
Yeah, Japan was hectic.
I mean, yeah,
Really good
someone
trip.
can.
I mean, Sanji.
in.
Japan. When did we go? Japan was last year.
That was
Almost
July,
this summer.
August.
late July. Yeah, late July.
Late July, August.
Yep.
We went for a couple of weeks. We went sightseeing at first. We did all the normal tourist stuff. Landed in Tokyo. Then we went and did all the boring stuff that you don't need to hear about. Then we got to Ibisu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way of explaining. I
Ibisu,
like that.
Ibisu was well, it's not boring
It's
stuff.
not
It's
boring,
awesome.
it's
I'd do
great.
it again.
Oh no, it's
But
great.
the highlight for the purpose of this podcasting couch is Ibisu.
That's the name of this podcast.
Podcasting
Your name,
couch.
podcasting couch.
Yeah,
Done.
that's it.
Episode
I
one.
like that.
No, but Ibisu was unbelievable. It was awesome. When we got there, we bought the best car that I think we have ever bought. Took about 3 days to buy.
Oh
we
well.
were about to buy a
Let's,
piece of
let's
shit.
hold up
based
before
on
we do that. Before we do that, hold up. So the thing with the Bisu is
We wanted to learn to drift.
a lot of the time. Yes, you go there. You go to the learn to drift. A lot of the time, you try to organise a car before you get there.
Yeah.
That's ideal. Like you want to get there, have a car ready to go, a car that's a good car.
Yep.
Get in, drive, drift.
And there's a few different Facebook pages and communities where you
Yep.
can kind of
Yep.
search for them
Yeah,
by
like
them.
Ibisu, whatever, drift
There's a
sales,
main one's
Gaijin,
Gaijin drift sales,
drift
yeah.
sales.
Japan.
Yeah,
So we had one kind of.
we had a
set-
few contacts here and there. We had one set up. If that didn't work, the same guy had another car set up. Went to go look at it. Wasn't as it seemed in the ad.
Yeah.
That's a nice way of putting it.
That
So
was
it's a
pretty
very,
good.
very neat way of putting that.
It was like clean cars are not
Yeah,
not
clean
fun.
cars in Ibisu are not
clean cars in
Yeah.
Ibisu have been rolled 3 times.
Our car was a clean car that we ended.
And the car
Well,
that we ended
yeah.
up with was awesome. Took 3 days or 2.5 days to get it, which gave us the shits a little bit because you're just watching everyone drift. But
But after we went through the hassle of trying to get those first 2 cars which fell through and they weren't as good
Yeah.
as we thought, we spoke to the people there.
spoke to Andy at
Andy.
Power Vehicles.
Yeah, should we
They're-
give a quick rundown on how
Give-
how
give-
vehicles
how it
or
works.
what How vehicles is?
So
yeah.
you get to Ibisu Circuit, which is actually a animal / reptile park. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
a,
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
zoo.
It's a zoo.
It's a zoo.
It's a zoo.
It's
And
like Jurassic
actually-
Park.
It is like Jurassic Park with a drift track.
You can
Multiple
drive
drift
through
tracks.
in jeeps and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
And there's actually there's like kids and families looking at animals, and
And
in the
then drift
background
cars.
there's
There's
like
drift cars driving through.
chasers
Yeah.
like drifting around the mountains.
It's,
It's an unbelievable
it's a magical
setup.
place.
What a
You,
place.
you wouldn't
It
see
is
that
awesome.
set up anywhere
So
else
magical.
in the world, I reckon. So yeah, if in terms of Ibisu, you go through the main gates, which is I think it's a big lion or a gorilla or something.
Yeah, it's a big
Yeah, it
arch.
looks like a zoo. You get there and you're like, this is
There's a line of drift cars, and the guy at the front's like, "Are you here for the zoo, or are you here for the drift?" And it's like,
We ain't here for the zoo.
"We're not here for the zoo." So you drive through, you drive past the first car park, you drive left and down the hill, and all of a sudden it's like drift car
Drift
heaven.
heaven.
So that's power vehicles.
And
So
so
the
yeah,
Power Vehicles is down there.
so Power Vehicles is
Andy
the company.
Gray, I think, is the guy that owns it.
Yeah. Irish
Yep.
bloke? Is he Irish?
Irish.
Yeah.
Irish.
No offense if he's
Sorry if
British
we're
or
being-
something
yeah,
else.
racist.
Maybe it might be.
But
He
whatever.
wasn't Japanese.
He wasn't Japanese. White guy. Andy.
Lives in Japan.
Lived in
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah, lived there for a few years.
So he runs Power Vehicles, which is pretty much the company that's in charge of the Bisu
They
tracks.
they
Yeah.
look after the track, but they're also like a workshop that's at the track. They have their own cars, they have their own drivers. They also sell cars to the public or for people that want to be drifting. So at first, because we had a very limited budget, we didn't even look into that. Like we initially did, and it's like, oh yeah, it's going to be $12 grand to buy a very basic setup. And we
Oh,
thought,
yeah.
nah,
Yeah.
we'll buy a drift cells. The main thing which is really good about buying through Power Vehicles is that you get some sort of insurance, and insurance being if something breaks and you just bought a car off them, they will put it in the
They'll
workshop. They'll
fix
fix
it,
it so you can keep driving. You can keep having a go. You've got like power vehicle support.
And also, let's touch on when you're drifting in Ibisu, the cars have to be they have to be up to a certain standard. So they
Like
have
power
to
vehicle
have
certified.
yeah.
Either bought through power vehicles.
I don't think. No. I think John, you're talking
No,
about the
what
actual,
I'm saying is the cars have to be up to a
the
certain
level
standard.
of
They have to
standard,
have
right, yeah.
a cage in them now.
Now they need.
Now they do.
Now
We
they
went
do,
there.
yeah.
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 All the panels are meant to be on, but a
Yeah.
lot of them aren't. So they have to be of a certain standard. Power vehicles, all the cars they sell are of that standard.
They meet the requirements for
Yeah.
being at the track.
And
Yeah.
there's also this other thing which is power vehicles eligibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the PV eligible car, which I think, correct me if I'm wrong, is a car that was originally supplied by Power Vehicles.
Correct.
And then it's gone through a bunch of owners, a bunch
Yeah.
of.
So
drift
the deal
tricks.
is, if you buy a Power Vehicles eligible car, you get to Japan, you start drifting, and you buy Power Vehicles support. Well, you're allowed to buy Power Vehicles support.
Then, like,
And then- And
you
then
can change tyres on their time machine.
yeah,
you
the
can-
goal is you can use their facilities.
Yeah.
They'll fix your car in the workshop, all that kind of stuff. If you buy a different car from the auctions or the street, whatever, someone in
You
Japan,
pretty much have to
and you
track
bring
it
it,
there. You're on your own.
then yeah, you're on your
Yeah.
own. When you're there at the drift circuit, you don't have support from Power Vehicles.
And you can't store your car there.
That's
Yeah.
another
Big,
huge
big
thing. So
shit.
storage. A lot of people do a trip to Japan. They finish. They don't sell their car. They leave it there and they store it and they pay $50 a month or whatever it is.
Which is cheap as cheap.
Which is
But like,
pretty cheap. If you're a bunch of mates buying a car
Yeah.
and you've got a good car, you just
leave
store it there.
Yeah.
You leave it there.
If you
Um,
didn't,
If you didn't, what do you do with the car? You're meant to
Mm.
try to sell
I don't
it
live in
on this
Japan.
thing.
But I think that's like an important thing. I mean, people who are looking at drifting and all that stuff.
100%.
We
Spend
didn't,
the
we didn't
extra
even
money.
know, but like
go
we
to
didn't
power
even know
vehicles.
in terms
yeah.
of what the goes with getting a car and
yeah.
how to sell it and all that stuff. And then we found out that you can store
Yeah.
your car with Power Vehicles. Which
We
is like
dived into the deep end big time.
Yeah.
So-
we didn't actually know everything until we kind of got there.
If we will give
Yeah.
people tips about buying their car for Japan,
Yeah,
Okay.
100%.
If
We
you want to do
struggle,
it
so-
super on the cheap, buy a Power Vehicles eligible vehicle from some sort of Facebook group. But that's what we tried to do. It's way more difficult
Well,
than it seems.
and also the cars that we saw broken down were mainly SRs.
Yeah,
Are
100%.
these?
Yeah.
Buy
Buy
a
a Toyota.
Toyota.
Buy
a
Toyota. Buy Toyota. None of us
Toyota.
are Toyota turbocharged people here.
No.
Nissan,
Don't own one.
Hondas, but
Would own one,
Mm.
but you can just beat on
Oh,
that.
would own
the
one
whole-
after owning that
Yeah.
thing.
The whole.
yeah, buy a Chaser, buy a JZX. Just
Yeah, definitely.
stick with Toyota.
Definitely.
I think what are those? What were the guys? What was that name of that team that was
Team-
up on that? Was that team? Not Red Stage. What are they
Team-
called? Red
Team
something.
Red Stage.
something.
Red Stage.
Red Stage.
Red Stage?
They're
Red
Aussie
Stage.
guys in New
Aussie
Zealand.
guys.
Yeah.
It was about
Oh,
had about
guys.
8 SRs up the top,
all broken.
And-
and all
They
doing.
did-
They were all
but-
doing
No,
engine
but they,
swaps.
they love working on their cars.
when we
They
got-
always fix it.
when
We
we-
didn't want to work on our car. We wanted to
Yeah.
drive.
When we got there, we met these people. Team Red Stage.
They were
Great,
nice guys.
great bunch of people.
Yeah.
We got there the first day they got there. Their car was had a blown engine from last time. They
Yeah.
did an engine swap one day. We're drifting
Well,
the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just
That's
like,
Mind you, hold on.
engine
They
out,
were doing
engine
engine
in,
swap
let's
every
go.
day, but
That's unreal.
at least every day they're doing engine
so
swap.
if you're going to be heaps hands on and you know your way around SRs, SRs are cheaper,
Go
buy an
for it.
SR, but you will be fixing it. But
Yeah.
when you're on holiday, personally,
Oh,
I want to be drifting, not fixing.
and went through four. There was 4 of us.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
like back to
Four
back.
of us,
to back.
back to back.
If we have,
On the limit.
if we have some sort of footage
Yeah.
of Mickey on the limit, I'll just
Yeah, we got plenty. We got plenty of that.
Yeah. So
I think
and the
my-
car's perfect.
my-
It was fine.
My tip, I think, is don't cheap out on.
Don't
Don't try to find something
Find
that's
a
like
good
super
car
cheap.
initially, yeah.
Like, just
like
pay-
those
pay the
people,
premium.
there were people paying like $3.5-4 grand for like basically a piece of rust with wheels,
Yeah.
and it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. Just spend the premium, get a car, and just get out there straight away. Otherwise,
Drift-
you'll be in the pits.
drift the week straight.
Yeah, having to like
Yeah.
fix
Yeah.
bits and pieces
Like
and chuck
if
your
we
bumpers
if
on.
we went for that car that we actually ended up with the first day, in hindsight we couldn't have because the car was actually getting
Wasn't
ready.
even there
It wasn't
yet.
ready. It was on the hoist and it wasn't ready yet. But if it was ready and we bought it from day one, we would have had 2.5 more days of
Yeah.
Yeah.
drifting heaven.
So what cars did you guys look at, and then what did you end up with?
Okay, first one
Thank
was
you
a
for that.
Skyline.
I feel like we've kind of missed that part.
We did miss that part.
Thank you for bringing us back in line. A Skyline RB20,
RE20,
RE20.
which was
Turbocharged.
said to be working, running,
working, running, not overheating,
not
like
overheating, in great mechanical order, no rust,
Owned,
bro. The thing
owned by a
pulled up.
mechanic. Owned by a mechanic. I know it. It's perfect. Great car. Vouch for this car. None of those worked.
Not one of those. Not one box was ticked. It was towed up by the Tarago, whatever they use.
Tires are flat.
Tires were all flat, leaking,
Radiator
radiator
leaking,
coolant. They
yeah.
couldn't start the car.
No.
And we were supposed to go and buy this car from this guy off the Facebook market group.
Yeah. And
Which is okay.
How much was that car? That was probably
That
$5
was
grand.
$6,000, I think,
6
or $5,000.
Yeah, so much money for
5 or
that.
$6,000.
It's
He
shit.
also had a chaser, which
So yeah, we scrapped that, right?
we scrapped that.
And then, all right, let's go look at his chaser,
Yeah, so it had a
which
chaser.
was Power Vehicles eligible.
It was PV eligible, and look, it wasn't a bad car, I don't think.
It had
just-
it was like a tuned version of the car that we ended up with.
Yeah.
So it had a bigger turbo. It had a whole bunch of other stuff that our car didn't have.
Still a bit rough
But
around
the
edges,
problem
though.
is that
Yeah.
that car actually never went through Power Vehicles. I think it got to the stage ours was where it was on the
Yeah.
where it was on the hoist, and then Andy said to us that guy was a mechanic and he bought it off me without them actually going through it.
So they wouldn't
So they wouldn't
support us.
They wouldn't support us.
Yeah, that's right.
So
I
that,
remember
that was a
now.
drawback. We're
I
either
remember
going
that
to
now.
pay the same price for that car with zero support, or
Or
get our
get
Power
that car.
Vehicles car.
I'm pretty sure
instead.
he was going to throw support in for us for free on the brand new.
Yeah.
Brand new with the
Yeah.
white one.
So
And then we just bit the bullet.
we bit the bullet. We sort of went, oh, what are we going to do? We went for the white one, and we never
Well,
looked back.
Power Vehicles told us, look, you can buy that and that. They're pretty shitty cars, or you can spend a little bit more and get this car, which we just bought from the auctions. We're going to do a once over,
Yeah.
and you
Which
can
was
start
it was
ripping
pretty cool to have a car that had just come from the auctions that they sort of did a once over, made sure everything was working.
So what kind of car was it?
There's a Mark II.
Mark II
Yeah. The 1JZ.
with the 1JZ,
Yeah.
best engine known to me.
It was supposedly a street drifter
Yeah.
before.
Street drifter, a few
Fender
things that I had to
flares.
tidy up on it, but I remember when we were parked there and some old mate that's been to like Ibisu 33 times walked through the pits. He's like, my car used to look like that. So that means that our car was clean. Yeah,
That's
he's
mad.
like,
Yeah.
that's nice. My car used
Oh,
to
look,
look like
it
that.
probably was the cleanest car
Yeah,
out drifting.
It definitely
Yeah.
was, yeah.
it stayed clean too.
It
Yeah,
did.
so
Like
you
it
crash
stayed
it?
clean.
I think it
Apart
needs-
from-
That means we're not drifting
apart
cars.
from- did we crash it? No, we didn't crash it. We dropped a
A
one
curb,
wheel
yeah.
into the dirt where there's
Dirt,
like
yeah.
just a cut off section, bent a bunch
Backwards
of
off the
arms,
dirt.
backwards
Going
off the
backwards
dirt.
I was with you.
That's it. What's that circuit called?
Minami?
That was
Minami?
Yeah.
Where it's like big,
Big hook
drift.
at the back.
There's
Yeah.
a big
big
sweepers, and
You're
then
meant to go straight up the top and catch speed to go up the top.
yeah.
But Mickey's going sideways up the top.
I think I lost the rear end. I'm pretty sure.
He told me he was in control.
I was not in control of that section.
Were you by yourself?
Nah,
Or
John
someone-
was in the
it
car,
John was in
and
there?
I think I was coming around. I must have lost it, and then we're
But
going backwards.
we went backwards off that.
off that little drop
I
off.
didn't think I didn't know you went backwards. I thought that you just dipped a wheel and
That's
kept
what I
going.
thought too.
Nah,
So
nah.
now
We
we're
went,
finding
now
it.
we went.
No,
Yeah, they're like, no, like we just dipped the
He
wheel.
was like,
kept
Oh,
"Oh,
going."
no, I had lost it.
no,
I lost
he
it.
came backwards and then came backwards off the ripple strip,
Okay, that makes
dip,
And
and
then
then
dropped
it
that wheel
ripped it
and it-
forward.
It snapped the.
It's
well,
not
cracked
going
the whole rim.
backwards, it's reverse entry.
Yeah, it's reverse entry, exactly.
So wait, did we crack the rear rim?
No, the front rim.
Yeah, because I was gonna say we were looking at the front suspension. That was screwed.
Yeah, the front
Not
rim
suspension.
cracked.
The some.
Well, it cracked. Well, we didn't know it cracked. We just drove off the track. Like, yeah, alright. It came
Yeah.
off.
Front,
It's fine.
front bumper hanging off.
Went to go and
But-
put air in
but-
the tire, and then I was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, the rim's cracked.
So then we had to buy new wheels and tires. But it doesn't matter.
Hey,
Yeah, it was
When-
great. We
when
actually
in a
we
distance-
actually ran the rear of that car with 16s, 15, 16s.
With 32.
Tiny little
32.
cars. And
That
I
was
reckon
sick.
that was actually a really smart decision because it made us feel like the car had way more power. And when we were starting, when you start there, you start on the skid pans.
Yeah.
You do a couple of sessions on the skid pans. I think we
Yeah.
spent the whole first day and half of the second day there, sort of
Getting
getting to grips with them
confidence.
and getting confidence up before going to the actual tracks.
Mm,
And by having the little wheels on the skid pans, even though our engine wasn't tuned or done up, I think it was just slightly boosted. What it meant was that it felt like we had a car with 400 kilowatts.
Yeah.
Because they would light up so quickly and so easily, and it would give you heaps better sort of. You could learn to control it way better than having big wheels that you had to
Really, give it
really,
bends.
really be on it to get it sideways. So
I might
Yes.
add another good part of the little wheels, well, small diameter wheels, is that they're easier to change tires.
Oh,
heaps for a first timer
Yeah.
at the track, and like when
Nice thick sort of sidewall.
So
Must be
the
sideways
go
change
with
tires.
Power Vehicles and Ibisu is when you're drifting, you go through your tires. You probably go through a set a day or more.
More.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a tire changing machine there. If you've got Power Vehicles eligibility and PV cover, you're allowed to use that tire changer. And
who
you
taught us to change tires?
You change
Shout
your
out
own
to, what's
tires.
his name?
I'll stop.
Trent.
No, I wasn't.
Trent?
No, it was Rob.
Was it
Rob
Falstall?
taught us first.
Rob taught us, and then Trent.
Yeah.
Trent,
Another
the
Aussie guy with
legend
a-
Aussie guy with the Cubra, he's probably still kicking around somewhere.
With
He's
his-
probably
Backpacking
gonna- he'll
for
probably watch
34
this
weeks.
podcast.
Yeah, he was a
legend.
gun. He was a
Absolute
gun.
legend.
Well, so yeah, the thing is, you change your tires there. So if you can, before you get to Japan, try learn. We learnt from Robert Westside first before we went, so at least we have that kind of knowledge.
Yeah.
Then we got there and we learnt from Trent
And
and
Falstor, who's like the
Falstor.
head mechanic there at Power Vehicles.
And yeah, so the deal is when you have thicker profile tires, much easier.
Sidewalls are much
change.
softer. When you've got thin profile, it's so hard to
You got to
freaking.
stretch it.
Yeah.
So if you're a first time, you haven't changed tires before, maybe try get small wheels for your car.
The only downside is when you do step up to the bigger circuits like Minami and you're doing second and third gear things rather than just
Yeah.
first and second gear on the skid pan,
Yeah.
because the wheels are rotating much faster, you end up tearing through a set of tires like that.
Oh,
Like gone, absolutely
Yeah,
gone.
true.
It makes you feel like a legend, but it's like, yeah, one session did a whole
like
set
yeah,
of tires.
price of tires. Well, yeah, I think
Hey,
we spent
They
2 days on a
hey, but they
skid
smoke helmet.
They do.
Yeah, on the skid pan, we spent like 2 days on the same set.
2 days and we spent.
Then we got some
set.
Minami
Because that's
and it was
first
like,
gear, right? Minami's second and third up the back there.
Yeah.
And you come back and it's like, oh, yep,
Like, yeah,
gotta
those-
change tires
those
after
tires
lunch
are hot.
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool your tires down. We had like a little spray bottle.
Yep.
Spray bottle with water.
Yeah,
Spray
spray the
Radiator,
spray the
tires. When you come back,
Yeah.
it saves you so much.
I think it actually saved a lot.
It
Yeah.
saved
I
us
think we
a
went
lot.
through 5 steps.
So what was it? It
one
was
thing,
pretty
we went
much-
in summer. We went in the peak of summer when it was super
Yeah.
hot,
Yeah.
right? Which makes a difference.
and what was the contraption? Just explain it to
It's,
people.
it's
because-
a garden spray.
What was the
Garden
pressurized?
spray.
Like a
Pressurized
bunny?
one, yeah.
And what did you do after each set? We would just spray the tires.
We'll spray the
We'd
radio.
have like our UNA pit crew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Spray
we'd,
the
we'd
radio,
come
and
in
spray
like
the
this.
tires.
Spray the radio because we don't want the car to overheat. We wanted the engine to last for the
Yeah.
whole trip.
And it
Spray
worked.
the
It was,
tyres.
it was also,
Yeah.
the car never overheated. The tyres lasted longer than they probably should have considering
I think
the
we had what
16s.
2 spare sets.
We
One
actually
spare
we sold
set
the car with a
yeah.
spare set of tyres.
Yeah.
Speaking
Yeah.
of selling the car, what was the process involved with that?
interview Sanj.
What was the process?
What was the process?
I wasn't there. I wanted to.
Yeah, that's true. Just for everyone.
Sanji's learning just like
Just
you
so
guys.
everyone
Days of
obviously
our
knows. Obviously, the one Sanj didn't make it on that trip,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
He was
I
on
was
another
overseas
continent.
myself.
Yeah, he was overseas
You were.
himself.
That's right.
Zero
Well,
trip.
because we all went on our first trip to Japan back in 2016, and didn't make it on there. Then we went in 2018.
Mhm.
Sanj didn't make it either, but Ant came along.
Mm-hmm.
And now Dave's going in 2 weeks' time,
And then we'll hopefully be back.
And
and then we're going back
Hopefully back there in Jan next
in
year.
January for.
Bit of skiing.
Bit of skiing.
Anyway, so on to selling the car.
Yes.
Yes.
Usually you would advertise it on Facebook and whatnot and throw
Yeah.
it up on your Gaijin Drift
Or-
Sales page.
Just become friends with really
Yeah.
rich Chinese overseas people that had heaps of cash. Not being racist.
Not
it's
being racist.
a fact. It's a fact. It's a fact.
fact.
He was a legend too. I
He,
forgot
he
his
was a
name.
really
What's
good
his
guy
name?
too. He was so keen for it.
We
Calvin?
saw him
No.
again.
Kelvin?
Nah.
No, we saw him again when we were at D1.
Yeah.
Did ya?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a legend.
Anyway,
We're
so
not going on
Anyway, he's like, my
Yeah.
mates are coming from overseas.
I was desperate to get it.
They really want a car. We had been like chatting with him. We sat down with him for lunch one time as well. So like,
Yeah.
been a bit friendly with him throughout the couple of days.
He had the red S40.
He had like a S40.
Yeah,
full
that
track
was
spec.
track spec. It
Man,
was
yeah.
hectic. He was like smashing into walls. He loved it. It was great. Anyway, he's like, your car's holding up alright. Seems to be good. My friends are coming next week. Can they buy it? And we're like,
Done.
Done
okay,
deal, my friend.
let's do it.
That was the easiest sale.
Easiest-
I think. We
easiest,
expected it to be
quickest
way harder, but
transaction. Like, if we would do it again, don't do it with PayPal because you get screwed over with PayPal with all the fees. But apart from that,
Yeah.
money went straight to us.
How else, Drew, if someone was to sell it, how would they go about doing it?
So through,
Power vehicles.
you can do it, either through the Facebook pages and all that stuff, or through Power Vehicles.
So you can sell back to
Yeah.
power vehicles.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to get as much money because I think
Yeah.
as long as you don't smash it up, they'll probably give you like 50 to 60%.
I think it's on their
of
website. I
value.
think it doesn't it say on
Yeah.
their
Whatever the
website?
terms are on their website,
Yeah.
but you can get more than that on Facebook.
Yeah.
But there's also more hassle involved. So if you
Yeah.
just need to get rid of the
Or
car, sell it back to them.
If you're not selling it, you can. If
store
your
it.
car's PV eligible, you can store it, and they'll look after it for
Yeah.
you.
Look,
Pay
in
set fee per
hindsight,
month.
if we had,
I would
if
have
we didn't
loved-
need the money, I would have kept.
I would
that
have
thing.
loved, like if, like imagine going back there, except
Oh.
it's winter now, but
Yeah.
like in
What a-
January
what
we
a
go.
car.
But I hope that car is still kicking somewhere with our banner because we put like a banner on the front and our stickers down
I
the
have not
side.
took it off.
That was
I
cool.
hope the next person didn't take it off. They just
And
put
it
It was
another
in
sticker.
Adam Elton's
Adam
video.
Elton's,
And it
yeah.
was in the
Oh,
back of
was it
Adam
really?
Elton's video, and they haven't
Oh, that's
taken it off.
mad.
Yeah,
Someone
it's
sent
awesome.
Everyone
someone
was-
sent us a
people were sending
screenshot
it,
of it.
You're
I
like,
didn't know
oh,
that.
you guys drifting? I'm like, no. we're
No,
not.
it's
we're
just
not
our
there.
car.
Well, anyway, the videos from this drift.
We actually did
Adventure.
take
We've got-
vlogs and videos.
We've got a bunch of videos which we've got to put up, and I haven't edited yet. We're still getting through all of the
and
garages.
stuff, yeah.
We've still
We
got
John took a lot of footage,
yeah.
and everyone
Yeah.
has their own day jobs, so obviously it all takes time.
Yeah.
But there's a lot.
But there's a lot more to come.
footage.
Like we still haven't really shown them anything of the chase of the Mark II, two Mark II
Too
Furies.
much Furious.
And as soon as like you start editing that and putting that
Yeah,
back
that's
up,
cool
I'm
stuff.
gonna be reliving that, and booking another trip.
Yeah, we're going back.
Oh man.
We
So
are
that
going
was
back.
Oh, so good. So good.
Where do people stay when you go to
Ibisu.
Ibisu? What's accommodation like?
Fukushima.
I forgot where we stayed.
We stayed in the hotel that everyone stayed at.
So there's
Yes.
There's like the AMA,
Yeah.
APP, whatever.
whatever it was. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
there's an
A lot
option.
of PP.
There's an option which we missed out on, which would have been awesome, where you can stay
The
in
drift
the
lodge.
drift lodges, which are effectively accommodation lodges with bunk beds there at the track. But we booked too late for that, so
Yeah.
we stayed where a lot of other people, Team Red Stage,
Team
and a lot
Red
of other
Stage.
people we saw at the track stayed, which was in Fukushima, which is how long's the drive?
That was an
Half
experience.
an hour drive.
It's not
on the
bad.
track.
Which is fine, and when you're in the best car in the world,
Best car in the world.
best kind
a
of
little bit of a segue, the Prolapse,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Toyota
Toyota
Prolapse.
Hilux.
Look it up,
Toyota-
type it in
Did
Google,
I just
Toyota
miss
Prolapse.
that? What's the segue? I didn't the segue.
Segway. You know the things they ride, more
Yeah.
cop.
Oh,
Yeah.
right. Yep. Okay, I'll get you now.
You're learning too.
Thank you. I am then.
So Fukushima.
Fukushima's.
There's a few different hotels there you can stay at.
Yeah, we stayed at that one where everyone was. Sorry, we don't know the name.
It's
of it.
probably the cheapest one. You can and there's
The
a
rooms,
reason why.
the rooms are
The
tiny.
rooms are like 6 meters square,
Driller barely fit on the bed.
and we were 2 per room, so it was tiny.
And
You can't fit your luggage in the room if you're in the room too.
Yeah, you
Simple
can't.
as that. You have to get dressed outside.
Yeah.
Or in the bathroom.
Fukushima's pretty cool though. You're like the only white people around,
Yeah, that's true.
and the only tourists. All the
No one
tourists.
speaks
and
English.
all the tourists are just there for drifting.
And there are
Remember the night where we went to
Oh, that-
7-Eleven?
7-Eleven, we got our
We-
burgers.
So we went to
Oh,
we
no,
went
Oh,
to
no, no, no.
we went to 7-Eleven. Do you want to tell the
Yeah.
story?
That guy
It's
was
been a long
So
time.
we went to 7-Eleven, and as you do when you're in Japan, 7-Eleven's awesome. You can get fried chicken in there. You can get
Rice balls. You can get any
rice
drink you
balls.
want.
The drinks. The what were the drinks there?
What the Wilkinson?
Wilkinson.
Wilkinson.
You get like the bubbliest soda water you can
Most
imagine.
refreshing stuff.
So anyway, we just stopped off at 7-Eleven for the night. Got ourselves some icy poles or something, and we're leaving. And
Coolish.
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 Oh,
Coolish.
Coolish. That's for another time.
I could talk about that for an hour straight. Anyway.
That's podcast number 2.
We-
Just
we-
Coolish.
We just left 7-Eleven, and there were some locals out in the front having a dart, just sitting around, and they saw us white boys leaving.
They saw
7-Eleven.
us walk in, I think.
Yeah.
And
that's
they,
nice.
they think, oh, some white guys in town. We
So
know why they're here. They're here to drift. So all of a sudden, one stands up and starts singing, "It's been a long day."
And they had the song playing in the
Had the
background.
song playing.
They
Oh,
timed
great.
it.
And we looked
Like-
at it. Yeah.
We started laughing. That was great.
That's
That was hilarious.
Yeah,
They were ripping on
that's
us.
so they were actually ripping us.
That's right. We're
Look
like
at these
these
white- look at these
people.
white
I feel like I was
boys.
famous.
We're the only white people in their town, so
Yeah.
Mm.
very cool.
Do you feel like a bunch of gaijin?
Yeah, Gaijin. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, stay in Fukushima. It's probably the best place to stay.
Probably don't
if
get
you're not in the
Mossel
lodges.
Burger at all.
Hey, let's not talk shit about Moss
Some
Burger.
people like Mossburger.
Hey, I like
Really?
Moss Burger.
Mossburger.
Moss
No,
Burger's
not Moss
fucking
Burger. No, not Moss Burger.
But ideally, if you're staying in,
I'd eat chicken cartilage over Moss Burger.
Oh, let's
Remember
not
that?
do no.
Let's just let's leave. Let's leave.
Anyway, so if you're staying in Fukushima, the best thing to do is probably hire a car, and there is no parking there.
Well, we hired our
Shall I
car
tell
from Tokyo if they want to know.
Alright, hired from Tokyo, drove to Fukushima.
Yeah.
It's about a 5-hour
And
drive.
it was cheap to hire as well. Like
Yeah.
the car was like probably $800. I
$800
think I paid
for a full week.
for a full week.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cheap considering it was a
yeah.
people sort of not a van, a what's it called, a station wagon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the sort of work car of the people.
And that was fun doing the drive. Like I would recommend it to people if
Pe-
they've got time in your trip. If you've
And
got
Pe- people say that there are so many tolls, it's really expensive. You're better off doing public transport. Yes, you'll probably get there more efficiently and cheaper with public transport. But driving and like stopping off on the side of the highway at those massive highway, whatever they are, pit stops,
Yeah.
which is like almost like a little village full of cars with people showing you where to park. You walk in, only white person
You-
there again. It's just like
you buy some food from like the hot food vendor there. Nothing's
don't
in
know
English.
what it
You don't
is.
know what it
Like,
is.
just
No
point,
idea.
I want that one and that one.
Have
That,
the
that
best
was
food you've had.
that was such an experience.
Yeah.
That was really good.
You get to see the countryside.
Yeah, I would
Which is
recommend it.
really beautiful,
We
really
saw
green.
some GTRs and 86s driving in the wild on the highway.
Yeah.
we did too.
That was
did
pretty
too.
cool. So yeah, I would recommend it. I'd recommend
Oh,
driving up if you've got
100%.
time in your trip.
You can catch or you can get the bullet train straight to Fukushima station,
Which is
but
a great way to
Yeah.
travel too.
Grab-
And then you can get a car from the station, right?
you can do that.
You can
But
get
yeah,
your little prolapse there.
otherwise, grab it from Tokyo, drive to Fukushima, stay there. Then, if you're gonna park your car, you've got to just go
You
and
gotta
pay parking.
you gotta factor that in. Parking was what?
They have like zero free parking.
Anywhere from 500 yen a night
So-
to like.
So that's about
Sometimes
let's
it
say
was
$10 a night.
There was that
10
one car
Aussie
park
was
which we
right.
couldn't figure out. Like if you got there before 10 o'clock, it was
Yeah.
one price. If you got there after, then you screwed over and you pay 3 times
Yeah.
the price, and it's just confusing.
Yeah, it was rare. Every night, every single night, we got charged.
It was
A
different.
different amount of money.
Different
It was
price.
very confusing, but you just
It's probably
put the
because
coins
we can't
in
rate.
and done.
We should have just cop fines and parked on the street.
Alright, is that enough about
About Japan,
Japan?
about drifting.
Yeah.
there.
I suppose. Yeah, we got kind of there.
I suppose.
Keep talking about
Sanj, do you have any other questions?
No, you guys have been very comprehensive in your descriptions.
Well, we haven't really spoken about the garages in Japan.
No.
What was everyone's favourite garages? What would you recommend to the viewers to go see?
it. Oh, spoon.
Well, Ant and I didn't go to as many as you guys.
Actually,
We
yeah,
did though. We
yeah.
still
We
went
went
to
to a lot.
a few. We
Went
went
to
to
a
like
lot.
3 or 4.
We got his-
Soft.
Lots of walking.
Well, they did 3 weeks in Japan. So 2 weeks sightseeing, 1 week drifting. Didn't really get to touch on garages.
A
And
lot
then
of
yeah.
garages. But I'd say Spoon. Spoon / Type
Spoon.
1 was.
Spoon and Type 1, which are pretty much their cousins. They're like down the road from each other.
Cousins.
we got a cousin counting this fucking anyway.
Cousin.
One's down here, one's up there. And you go to see one cousin, then you go see his bigger cousin down the road. And no, that was really good.
So
Yeah.
type 1,
RWB was cool.
yeah, that was
The old
pretty
and no.
Yeah, well,
Didn't go.
Hire a car. We got a Honda Civic Type R, the new FK8. Drove to
Yeah,
Did you guys
RWB.
video
So-
that day?
yeah.
Did we?
You didn't do like a vlog? You
Yeah.
guys went to Daikoku, right?
Yeah, we went to Daikoku.
Stay there.
We went to Daikoku. We went
We
to
did RWB first.
RWB.
Daikoku, and then we went to
All
went
in the
to
new Civic Type
Tatsumi.
R.
Tatsumi parking area.
That was
All in
cool.
the new Civic Type R.
Yeah.
And then we
You
slept.
should have
we
done
slept,
that.
we
Vlog
slept-
of
we
we
that.
slept in the
Yeah.
car
Slept
that
in the
night.
Civic Type R that
We
night.
filmed stuff.
I reckon
I don't think we filmed that we
yeah.
slept in the car.
No.
We filmed it
Let's
RWB. I think we cut it off
if the
there.
people, oh, you didn't film it.
No, we
if
filmed
the people
RWB.
want to, if the people want to see that, I reckon that would be the sickest vlog. You guys just picking up a Type R and spending
I don't know.
24 hours in
We'll have to,
Japan.
we'll have to
24
Look if
hours
we
in a
film
Civic
It's
Type R.
24 hours in a Civic
No, it was
Type
only
R.
12 hours.
Pretty
It's
filthy.
pretty-
It was probably the
Yeah.
most used up 12 hours that car's ever had. We did like so many kilometers.
We slept.
They
Slept in
slept
it.
in it.
Drove to RWB. Drove to all the parking areas. So that was
Gave it a
ton of fun.
hammer. That was a sick
Did you
time.
find any mountain roads?
Did you tack the car?
Nah, we did mainly highways.
Yeah,
Highways?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
It was
it's pretty
good.
hard, yeah.
we're actually gonna
It's
hire
hard,
an
it's hard to
EK9.
find mountain roads.
We
You
were.
can
Unless you know people.
We're gonna
Fun
hire
fact:
an
we're gonna get
EK9.
an EK9 Type R.
Oh,
But
you
it
would
wasn't-
have.
We
it
would have
wasn't
hired. We
available.
would have hired that
Yeah,
over the.
It
yes.
wasn't available.
And yeah, to be honest, I think all of us would have hired that over the new
Yeah.
Type R.
Yeah.
That's
Even
great.
though the new Type R, I do like it.
It's a good highway car.
It was comfortable.
Yeah.
It was comfortable.
Yeah,
what
We
we
slept
needed.
in it. You can't sleep in an EK9.
Okay,
probably
well,
not,
no.
but-
Why wouldn't you?
But back on
Back
topic.
seats.
Anyway, back on topic.
Back on topic. My favourite was RWB.
RWB.
We stopped by there one night. That's probably gonna be the next video after this one. There was no one there except for one guy who was washing the cars. He kind of was. He let us in. He's like, yeah, come in.
Yeah.
Come in. We took a few photos for a bit, and then all of a sudden he's like, okay, I'm closing up. So we didn't get to spend a lot of time and really speak to the people there, but it was just a cool
Cool
experience.
guy.
Another thing on that, they'll probably see in the RWB video is the trading hours that are listed on Google and whatnot.
Yeah.
It says that they're open till I think like 3 a.m. in the morning.
Not
I'm sure some nights they do, but the
They're
night
not
we
every
went,
night.
it closed at like 8 p.m. I think when we were there.
Oh.
Anyway, just
That's,
so you know.
that's another thing about Japan. They stay open so late. They start late and they stay
Yeah.
open late.
Mm.
Me?
Mickey?
I answered Type
Swim?
1.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
your
I'll
top
take
one.
top one.
Sanj from
Sanji?
the first time.
Sanj?
Well, yeah, you went to. Well,
I didn't go.
that was the first one.
Up garage, there you go.
That's a
That's a
garage.
good
That's a garage.
That's it.
What about Up Garage, guys? What do you guys think of Up Garage and your experiences there?
We'll let Dylan say what his favourite thing
Oh,
was.
you didn't say your favourite one.
I'm trying to think. No, I think probably Genesis Garage in Osaka.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Just
that's
how
hard.
kind
Garages,
of.
yeah.
You just threw that spanner in the works for me.
Oh no, I don't. They're all fucking cool.
No, Genesis.
except for one,
Genesis
but
was.
Which one was it?
Genesis.
top secret.
Genesis was so accommodating.
Yeah.
The people were
Yeah.
lovely. They came outside, had a photo with us, showed us the cars. Like they were great.
Yeah, they were full interested. They were so happy seeing us there. Let us do whatever we wanted. Really taking photos, actually getting a inside the garage. They were like hooking us up with coffee bosses as well.
Yeah, they
And,
they
like,
gave us the magazine.
I wish
Yeah,
I had
awesome.
some.
Yeah,
They
they
gave
gave
us-
us they gave us 2 magazines which were priced at like 35 Australian dollars each
Yeah, they just gave it to
for
us
free. They're like, here, take this.
because
as
we
a
were
gift.
showing interest in their shop and
That's
you
so
know.
cool.
Yeah, taking photos with I don't know if she's the owner. But,
Oh wait, no. What am I saying? My favourite place.
What's that?
Winguru Workuru.
Oh, that's where John got.
Yeah, I got
okay.
it lit. Yeah.
well, they're all good.
They're
Like,
all so
you know,
good.
They're all so good.
But Wingworks we got amazing
Yeah.
hospitality.
Yeah, if anyone goes to Wingworks,
Hit us up.
make sure you go out to dinner with him after.
He's a legend.
Yeah.
He looked after us. Yeah,
He
I
spiked
don't
your
remember much about
Yeah,
Anyway, what were you saying before?
Up garage.
What do you think about Up Garage? And generally speaking, the other second-hand parts shops and super cheap auto equivalents over there.
Oh no, Sanj, you want to take the reins on your first
Yeah,
experience in 2016?
Yeah.
Oh jeez.
Because we can answer for what happened in 2018.
Vintage.
Yeah. Do I have something to say about that?
Okay. I guess like any other sort of second-hand part shop, right? There's no real like set catalogue of parts. Obviously, you've got your categories of stuff, but it's sort of like a lottery every time you walk in.
Oh yeah.
Big lottery.
It's a bit hit and
Definitely.
miss.
Very hit
Yeah.
and miss. That's
So-
the word for it.
Depends on which one you go at
Yeah.
what time of year and whatever, but you'll either have a really good time or a really
Oh, there's
Average
nothing here. Yeah.
But that's the thing. You gotta know that there's
That's part of the
about
fun in it as well, I think.
50 different ones
Yeah,
across
yeah, you
Tokyo,
might
and you got the
find
other
something.
smaller ones across the other cities.
Well, there's the small
Each
ones.
one has different stuff in it.
Then there's the motorbike ones.
Yeah.
Then there's the what's the brand?
There's the GT stores.
The
GT
GT ones,
yeah.
which if you look at them on
Find-
Google, you will not find
Yeah.
it. They
Try
don't
find it
exist.
if you can find a GT store. Try find a GT store because they've got a little bit better parts. You
Yeah.
know, more race catered.
Mm.
Yeah.
But the idea with Up Garage is you're meant to order your parts online, like through their catalogue that's online, and then they get them into the shop, and then you go pick them up in the shop.
And I think
Yeah.
as an overseas person like us, you can actually order through Kruger or whatever it's called. You can actually order it now.
You can get Up Garage delivered to
Yeah, you can
Australia.
get it delivered to
Yeah.
Australia
What?
now.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a
yeah.
so
Overnight from
A lot of people do it. Yeah.
yeah.
Alternate times.
You can everything.
Video.
Yeah.
Go watch our Pagani vid.
Yeah. Okay. But,
What about the other shops like what was it
Autobacks.
called?
Buddy
Auto
Watch.
Auto Shits.
The
Auto
buddies.
shit.
Autobacks, nah. Autobacks is good. I got my steering wheel from there.
Your fake steering
I was
wheel.
happy.
Yeah, hold on,
Your
hold
fake
on.
steering
Okay.
wheel.
Don't talk about
Where-
It took us 3 weeks to find, out of
One-
10 Autobacks we went to have the steering wheels.
Every
But
single
funny
time I
enough,
went
it was
past
in the,
one,
it was in the
let's go.
Fukushima store, which is probably
So-
the most like quiet one, small.
So Dave had the idea that he wanted to go to Autobacks, whatever it's called,
Woof,
and
woof.
get a naughty person. Was that what it is?
yeah,
Yeah, get
naughty
a
personal printer.
Farty
naughty,
Farty
farty person.
No,
He-
fast and fighting personal
he
printer.
he was
So
sure
he ended up with-
that he could get it because his cousin,
He's my cousin.
his cousin had
Yeah,
been
actually told
previously and gotten one, a naughty personal printer from
An Autoback
this shop,
store,
in
yeah.
Autobox.
Yep.
So he went into the first Autobox already. Yep.
Yeah.
Where am I going to get it?
This is hectic.
Not
Can't wait.
there. Ask the
Let's go.
people. Where can I get it? No.
No
don't
English.
have it. Don't
Sorry.
have it. How many Autobox do we go to?
I'd
I'd
say
I think-
more than that.
A lot. A lot.
After about the third, I stopped going.
Even
Yeah,
at,
it's
one
like
stage,
stop-
at one stage, John went home to edit.
You
We
guys
kept
just
going.
go. I'm
We
going
kept
to
going.
edit.
What
Yeah,
was
but-
the one that we went to, and it was supposed to be the biggest one, and it took us an hour and a half to get out.
And
And then there was a
And it was
construction zone.
closed.
Yeah.
No,
It
there
was
was
a
a construction
construction site.
zone or something.
Yeah, because it was
Yeah,
closed
that,
anyway.
that was my last straw. After that one, I
He
didn't
was like,
go
no,
anymore.
not happening.
You can get steering wheels. Don't listen to these guys. You just got to find the right
So
store.
did it come with a box?
No,
Did
but
it come with like papers?
Does it come with
sales?
authentication?
yes, it is. It's authentic. Okay.
Who's it registered to?
It bends nicely.
It's a no name. It's registered to no name. I went. delve
So
into that
the
story, but-
thing with these auto bark stores is they're kind of like super cheap but more kitschy. Like they've got like cup holders and cigarette holders. Like it's like their main kind
It's
of what
it's
they
like a
sell.
super cheap, but if everything was SAS, that SAS brand.
Sass.
Like SAS branded everything.
Like
I
I
so
so Talladega.
Soto Talladega's branded stuff.
Covering it up.
Please disregard those shoe seats.
Someone buy that.
It's just sound deadening.
They're for sale, FYI.
They've been for sale for 30 years.
So that was
Lowest
those.
offers only.
Let's quit. Let's put the lid on Japan. Let's go on something
Yeah,
else.
let's move on.
Let's move on to car culture. Car culture in
Oh,
Sydney.
please.
Me?
What's the go
Please.
with car culture in Sydney?
John, I feel like you're the most passionate about this. So
No
let's,
way, Jesus does not
Hate
hate
it.
with it.
The biggest part of car
I'm
culture
not
in
happy
Sydney
with
is
it.
double demerits.
Yeah,
That is true.
car culture used to be mad.
Yeah.
When we first got our P's and P's was like we thought we were cool and stuff. But then when I first got the GTR, so first got off my P's
Does that
with the
mean now you are
GTR.
cool?
Yeah, of course. My dad's got a
GTR.
When I first got the GTR, there was car culture. Like you could go to a meet. There was end of month meets. There was
There was a car meet every
I
week.
like
there was a
all
whole
the
bunch of
time.
different car meets.
Even on
Yeah.
weeknights and stuff
Every
like that.
yeah, every week there'd be something. Now
Bring back the car culture.
there's something, but if there's an event,
Defect station.
defect station, there's event burnouts. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah, like
good.
this
There's
Yobbo's doing burnouts from going into the gutter and ruins it for everyone.
Your boys who can't do a burnout and end up in the ditch.
Just don't do a burnout.
Just don't do a burnout.
We just want car culture.
I just want to
We
go. I just want to go to a car
We
meet.
just want to meet where you can go. You can park
Have a
your car, have some chats with people, not be worried about people revving their VLs in front of you. Nothing wrong with VLs. VLs are great.
No,
You
VLs
don't,
are
you don't
great.
need to
Great
live in a
choice.
bash when you're trying to go past me. You don't need to do a burnout when you're trying to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
Just chill,
Yeah.
enjoy being around other people who are interested in cars, speak to them, learn something. You know, I don't.
I think there's too much swag now as
Yeah.
well. Like
The
people aren't actually in it because they like cars into the cars. They're in it because they want to have a slammed VW. That's
Not-
okay, but like
But it's got Porsche
It's got
door
Porsche
handles.
door
it's
It's alright.
It's got Porsche wheels.
like the other day, for instance, did you see that GTI that P played on the way back
Yeah.
from?
Did
you
He
see
almost
that?
killed us.
Us
You almost
in the
killed
face
us.
like
All
that.
three of us.
What happened? I missed this.
Yeah, you're
Okay.
in there. You're in there.
On the way back, we went go-karting the
Go-karting.
other day. It was a bit of fun. On the way back, there was some P-plater in around Fairfield general area that I think he got his Ps 33
That day.
seconds
That
before he came up behind Driller in his Integra. He was in the left lane. He was then double lane thing across. Went in the right lane. Saw Driller with the Type R and saw a gap about this big in front of Driller. Cut in front of Driller. Cut around the other cars again.
Like,
For no
then
freaking
he
reason.
cut
And
at
then like
least
when he
6
cut in front
lanes.
of you, like he went like this.
Yeah, no, no.
And
then
Everyone was just like,
we're rolling up to the lights and I just gave Mick this.
yeah, we saw your
I
look
put my
too.
head out
No,
the
no,
window,
no,
it's
no,
like-
no, no, it's like, what the hell?
it's safe
If-
to say
if he
he's
watches
the
us-
kid's probably dead.
You ruined the car.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
probably crashed.
That's part of
That's
the
part of it
reason,
because police see that.
And then it gives
And
everyone
then
else a bad name.
Everyone else that actually enjoys cars properly
But
gets screwed
another
over
thing
for it.
is,
Respectfully is what we need to say.
I think-
Respectfully.
This is
John and
time and
myself
place.
went to a few meets
Back in
earlier this year,
earlier this year.
It's-
but we found that they were the more kind of
So
Upper class, would
upper
you
class
say?
cars, yeah,
the,
like cars and
the
coffee.
only meets that are going that actually do have a kind of good culture,
Cash.
although it is a little bit snobby, are the supercar meets. And
Yeah.
Wilson's Cars and Coffee?
Wilson's
Try
cars,
listen.
Wilson's Cars and Coffee was good.
They used to
Autofocus is great.
Autofocus is hectic.
Autofocus
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah.
snobby. Great guys, we love the autofocus guys. They're not
Such a good-
snobby.
good
There's
range of
awesome
cars,
cars there, and like the guy with the
Massive
CLK
variety as
Black,
well. Mm.
like cars that you
Hectic.
cars that you never see, and the people are there. They're friendly and they want to speak to you about their cars.
And they don't care what you drive either.
And, then, and
Literally, yeah.
everyone leaves respectably. Like these are the kind of stuff, the kind of meets that need to start happening. And
Definitely.
we're kind
We
of
want them to happen.
we've kind of started an impromptu meet. We put it
Mhm.
out to Instagram the other day,
On Tuesday.
Yeah,
which
so
is
by
going
the
to
time
be
they watch this, meets
by the
probably
time I watch
happen.
this,
It's already
meet would have happened. Well, we're having it at Superior Burger. And the idea is just to invite a few people.
Mm.
We're not making it like, we're not putting an Instagram actual post out. We just put it on our story. So
Yeah.
a few people will see it. If a few people don't, so be it.
Come for the next one.
And we just want it to be a chilled kind of have a feed, see
Back to
someone in the
basics,
car,
sort
have
of,
a
yeah,
chat.
have a chat.
Like none of this DJ and
Yeah,
lights
like,
bands
When
and
did it become
shisha
when
set
did it
up
become
and-
shisha setups,
Yeah, yeah,
dances,
yeah, yeah.
DJs,
Show and show,
lights?
yeah.
When did all this start?
Yeah, wet t-shirt contest.
They can swag.
That was good.
Sanju, we doing the wet t-shirt contest at ours.
I can't keep winning. Like, come on.
So yeah, that's my.
I think
phone.
it's just more about creating more of a grassroots, back to basics, like Ant said.
Yeah,
Wait,
and now back to
all
basics
three.
is that we like cars that are tied into motorsport. Like I said, a Slam VW, whatever. If you like that, that's fine. But like, what we want to see is like the people that we like to see, the sort of things that we like to see. Everyone together talking.
But to be honest, we don't really care if there's a Slam V double or something.
Yeah,
we don't
that's
really
cool.
care.
That's fine.
Come around, have a chat. We'll be interested in your. The Slam cars are still cool. I'll have a look at a Slam car. I'll have a chat
Yeah.
with the owner. As long as they're Sanju's Slam car. As long as
You're gonna
they're
raise that thing
Not
5
even
mil?
that.
as long as they're respectable. We just want the car culture to be respectable and like
And
for
fun.
everyone to get
Yeah.
along and to
Yeah,
have the
fun.
right idea. Fun. Not do stupid things that draw police attention and Tracy Grimshaw and make us look bad.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because then everyone gets
Let's have a
Everyone
rev,
gets
let's have a
stuffed
rev
over.
battle.
Yeah, we
Let's-
all get
let's-
put under the same
yeah.
blanket.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But on that topic, I think we should then talk about kind of the police in this though, because they do also play
Yeah.
a bit of a bad part.
okay.
This can be a very touchy subject, you know that.
Touch.
Yeah, like what I mean is the way that well,
I don't think they're bad. I think they do save lives.
yeah,
But I do think that
they're too. I'd say they're too strict.
I
Yeah.
think
Strict
for
on
some
some
things
things,
like
yeah.
oh yeah, like you've changed the gear knob on your car, you're going to get 3 points, $1,000, and you can't drive for 2 months.
Yeah.
It's just useless. Yeah.
It's like,
It's
wow, I just murdered someone. Don't arrest me, but
I'm pretty sure they'll.
I also-
I'm pretty sure they'll try to arrest you from.
I
the
also
outside.
robbed the grocery store down the road, but
No,
it's
but
cool.
They're
Let
going
me
to
go on
chase
that
someone
one.
who's, their car's too low.
But yeah, well, the go with Sydney and New South Wales is
Yeah.
we're pretty strict. I think we're probably the
I
strictest.
think Melbourne is probably beat us from what I've
Do
heard.
they? Oh, okay.
Queensland is the most laid back.
Queensland's chill.
Sydney's worse than Queensland.
Canberra's apparently pretty.
Canberra's chilled.
Alright.
I think Melbourne apparently is the worst, but they
No, we don't
might
care
they might
about the
just be
West Coast.
crying about.
Mm.
Yeah, who knows?
But anyway, the deal is in Australia. If you're watching from anywhere else, they're pretty tight on things like if your car's too. They've got this little wheelie thing which they try and wheel under your car. If it hits that wheel, then
Too
your
low.
car's too
Your
low.
car's too low. But then, like, you could buy a Lamborghini or a Ferrari from the showroom floor, and
Which
the
is
wheel
that
would
low.
boom hit the bumper, and it's like, I don't care.
If you change anything, it has to be engineered. Technically,
Which is a
a lot of the time cops let things
no, let
slide.
that slide.
So I've been pulled over in the GTR wearing harnesses, strap harnesses.
that is a
and
safety device. Thank you very
safety
much.
device, but it's illegal.
I know.
Which is silly,
which is
right?
stupid.
Yeah.
Something to do with getting you out if you're in an accident. But
But hey, if you're dead in that accident, there's no point.
a lot of the
Jesus.
a lot of,
You know what I'm saying, just think about it. If you had a harness on, then you're strapped in the car better than we
So
would.
That's
be.
true.
Sure.
If, and I think the police is from the counter argument. They want to make sure that the harness is installed properly.
the thing,
without
the
doubt,
thing
I
that
don't
I-
doubt- I don't say
the
that.
point I'm trying to make is that yes, if you get a bad cop or a cop that's trying to
Increase the quota, or
trying
reach his
to
quota.
reach his quota or increase revenue or whatever, they'll throw the book at you and they'll give you everything under the sun.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a dickhead to them.
Oh.
Like our car culture, like you have to give off the right vibe and the right. You have to.
If you're just
When
respectful,
you're pulled over by a cop, you have to show them that you're a respectable person. You have to be nice to them and all that kind of stuff. Because if you're not, it makes every one of us
But I
look
feel
bad.
like there's
Every
a
single
culture
other
where
person.
everyone has a chip on their shoulder.
It's always
and you
us
see,
against them.
Yeah, you see people get pulled over and they've got a GoPro on their head or their face, whatever, and they're like, "Oh, I have the right to film you," and they just be a dickhead to the cop, and the cop wants to.
Yeah.
Then
So
Could be a
the
dickhead
thing
back.
with me, when I
Simple
was
as that.
pulled over wearing the harnesses in the GTR, I was very nice to the officer.
Oh.
How was your day? What can I do for you? I was compliant with everything they asked. I gave
Yeah.
them my license. I told them how many drinks I'd had that night, which was nothing.
32.
And then he gave me back my license. He made a joke. He said, "Oh, you going parachuting tonight?" I said,
Sure.
"Alright." I was shitting myself. I'm like, "Crap, I'm about to get a defect." And I was like, "Oh no, I just thought I'd, wear them safety, whatever." He's like, "Alright, have a good night." Gave me my license, and I was good to go. Moral of the
Yeah.
story: be as nice as you can to police officers, officers of the law. You're a federal officer of the law.
Officer of the law.
Be as nice as you can to them, even if you had a shit day.
Yeah.
Don't make the situation worse. Be
Yes.
respectful to other humans. Hopefully, they're in a good mood and they're not just trying to raise revenue, and they'll be nice back to you.
Mm.
That's the idea. If they're not and they're throwing the book at you and they're being bad, well,
Well, sorry.
there's
but-
not much you can do
not
with it.
much
If
you
you're a
can do
dickhead
about
to them, it's going to be worse.
Yeah,
But-
it is. It's
But then I think that probably the worst thing about it is you go to a country like Japan and you go to Daikoku and you see a smashed up S15.
Yeah,
Right, you've probably
literally
seen photos of
smashed.
it.
the one that was actually
Yeah, like the chassis is bent, it's been flipped, and it's still driving on the road. I know it's unsafe and whatnot, but
it's unsafe.
that's
Is
probably
it
the
unsafe
worst
to
case
other
scenario.
people? Yeah.
but over there, even speaking to the owner of Wingworks, and
Yeah.
we were telling him, he's,
And their
he's
cars
one
are
of
like that low to the
the
ground.
Bossos Local members.
he's
And he's got his awesome pink Celica, and like that thing's ridiculous. It's like sits on the floor. It's got like every bloody fender and wing and everything you can think of that's been changed, and it just looks like the biggest rolling defect. But like something like that, we said to him like, do you get much heat from the cops? And he said, nah, the cops, a long time ago they used to care about this stuff, but now
They mind their own business.
they mind their own business and they'd rather focus on
He'd probably get 10
Focus
years.
on
focus on
actually
actual
helping
issues, yeah.
citizens and actually
Yeah.
us. Like there was a domestic down the road. Let's go to that. Oh no,
Exactly
but
right.
there's a
Yeah.
kid over there that's hitting VTEC. Let's
Like,
go get him.
If you're driving your car in a safe manner on the road, which most of us should be driving,
Yeah.
Which
all of
we
us
do.
should be driving.
We all,
in a
we
safe
all
manner.
drive in a safe manner.
There's no reason for any of this to happen. To get defected for things, for your car being too low, for different wheels, for a bit of what's a bit of poke gonna do?
Mm.
Is that really gonna hurt
Oh
someone?
no, they say it might hit a pedestrian when you're driving past.
Oh, like your mirror's not going to hit them anyways?
Oh, but it's a rolling thing,
Oh,
so
is it?
they might get spun around.
If it's a
Um,
pedestrian, it's a problem. If it's a cyclist, just fucking hit them. They shit me.
Oh,
Oh, is that tangent coming along?
You and A cycle club.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Anything else?
Anyone else want to speak about the topic?
I don't know. Oh, do you want to talk about roll cages? Just
Yeah,
real small one.
Roll cage, like I would love to have a roll cage in
Why
my car.
are roll cages illegal in
Okay,
going cars?
Because you can smash your head and your brain can come out and you can die. That's pretty much what it is.
if you're rolling, your head's gone anyway.
No, you can injure yourself on the metal.
But if
But-
you have a roll cage and a harness,
Then-
you're not going to hit it because you're strapped in.
Or if you have a roll
Yeah.
cage that then has the
The rubbers,
The
the
rubbers.
foams.
What I don't get and what I think should be completely legal is a roll cage, say in a little Honda Civic, in the rear of the car. In the rear of the
Half
car,
cage,
half cage, which gives it a bit more structural integrity.
issues, I
and well, the issue is if passengers sit back there when it's a
Yeah,
half cage.
okay, you
But
would have
who the
to-
hell is going to sit amongst the monkey bars in the back seat?
I don't think you can have a rear seat. with
Like,
the half cage, can you?
CrossFit people.
I think you can get
Yeah,
it.
they would. They like that.
I think you can get it engineered.
Yes, but that's
then
what I mean. You have to get it engineered
reclassify
as
the
a
car as a
two-seater,
three-wheel, yeah,
and then
a
on your
two-seater,
registration it says, "Oh, Honda Civic two-seater now."
Yeah.
It's just common sense. If you got something in the back,
Yeah,
don't put
like
something there.
that. I don't really understand.
The only cars I've seen with little cages are like MX-5s.
Yeah.
Just that little.
The roll bars.
That's-
yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I don't.
the
I
roll
don't
bar.
think that's illegal.
That's legal. You can do
That's
that.
legal.
That's the only
Yeah.
one, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Exhaust as well. Like I understand straight through exhaust on like a what's it called 370Z or something, which
On
sounds
any V6
so
car
loud.
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
like-
what about Harley
Ever.
Davidsons then? Like
Like-
those things are the loudest fucking thing
What-
on
what
the face of
was
certain
that?
Harleys. Like those are loud.
They come stock that loud.
Yeah, but they're fine. They pass.
Yeah.
But then
Do
like
they though?
they do.
Do they?
Yeah.
I think it all comes down to how you drive and how you respect other road users as well. You look at Japan, for instance. The people that were leaving Daikoku, we thought they were all going to be like drifting out of there and flooring it. Like every now and then there was one guy that hit it, but not like in front of everyone where the pedestrians were. It's sort of like up the road.
Things
Over the
people,
highway,
people
yeah.
here are just
Yeah.
stupid.
People here, like if we were all saying we're all
They
standing
do
there.
dumb stuff.
If we were in Australia right now, there'd
There
be
would be
a guy in
burnouts.
his
SS,
SS
yeah.
or his Falcon
Yeah.
in the barrier over there.
He's clapped out SV6.
Another he's another guy freaking in the bushes on this side.
Yeah.
There'd be a police with a little camera down the road going like that, and it's just the way it is at the moment in
Yeah.
Australia. Not fun for anybody. It's just
It's not. But yeah, if we tie it all back, it's just be respectful to all the police. They're there for a reason. But
In saying that,
in saying that, they do have to understand that if there's an enthusiast group that's out there and they're being respectful, they're doing everything right, they're not doing anything that's wrong.
like don't set up a defect station
No point
when you're
setting up a
going for a
defect station.
Sunday morning
Yeah.
drive
Yeah.
with a
Or
bunch of enthusiasts.
Even a car meet.
Like,
That's probably
well,
the most
let's go to a car meet,
frustrating
man.
thing, yeah.
The frustrating thing is you want
Yeah.
to set up a car meet, you want everyone to meet and chat and have a good time, but everyone's scared to attend because they know that 300 metres down the road, there's going to be a cop with his little
That's-
camera saying, or his little stick saying, come over here, we've set up a defect station, we're going to
Yeah.
defect
Inspection
you.
car, yeah.
that's when it all died in Sydney.
Absolutely
all the car
died.
culture.
End
When
of month meet.
end of month
died.
meet started getting stupid, and people started doing burnouts and being not respectful.
Social media's
And
got a
then-
huge part as well because people would be filming the burnouts. When,
Yeah,
like, I remember at
but-
Eastern Creek, some guy went into a bush and
From that, and
Yeah,
it gets the
viral.
coverage.
Yeah.
Then because of that, there's a
Tracy
defect
jumps on
station
board.
set up, and then everyone's scared to go out to meets
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Silly. Anyway,
It's a bit upsetting, but
but our meets
well, look.
hopefully on Tuesday are going to be good.
Yeah.
hopefully our meet didn't get shut down.
No, yeah. No, well, we can just say we're meeting for the meet. We'll
Yeah.
go to
Yeah.
September.
We'll fill you in the next casting couch.
Mm.
But anyway, I think that's it for this time. We've
Yeah.
been going for
Yeah.
like an
We've been
hour.
talking for a while, haven't
Really?
Yeah, it goes
we? We
quickly.
covered
yeah.
all our points.
If you've made
I
it
think
this
so.
far,
Did we
good
cover
job.
everything?
Yeah, it's good on you.
Very vaguely, we just touched on each,
Yeah.
But that's about it. So, closing comments, anyone?
Let us know what you'd like us to talk about the
Yeah.
next episode.
Or
Do you
just,
want it
yeah,
structured? Do you want it to chat? To
Let
be a
us
chat?
know what you actually think of the podcasting couch in general.
Should we add anything else to the room?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the room needs more stuff.
What would you like to see in the background?
These.
Yeah.
Oh
Should-
no.
Should we get a couch?
Should we get
All right,
a big L shape?
that's it.
Alright, sweet guys.
See you next time.
Ciao.
Let's get some coffee, guys. Oh, imagine if they weren't recording.